Hi, everyone. Welcome to Backstage with Speaking Your Brand, our live show that we're doing right now every other Monday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. Today, I am excited to welcome Solita Roberts, who's an image coach, and she's going to talk to us about how we can find our signature style for ourselves, for our brand, and for our audiences as we have in-person speaking engagements rapidly returning post-COVID. I'm so excited about that. I definitely need a wardrobe refresh. I've been going through my closet. And of course, there's pieces that I like, which I will show you today. I have them here, sitting here. So Solita's going to give me some recommendations on them. So I definitely have my favorite go-to pieces, but I want to expand out from that. And so Solita's going to be here to talk to us about finding our signature style. If you have questions, please post them in the comments. We are live right now. And if you're here live, say hi to us in the comments so we can see you. Ask your questions as we go along. Solita, thank you so much for joining us today. Can you tell me a little bit about why image styling and an image for women is so important to you?
Oh, first of all, thank you very much, Carol, for this opportunity. This is like so great. Like when I thought about our conversation, I was like, yes, I've been so excited and prepping different things. I'm looking forward to, you sharing your pieces and we going through the tips and everything. But that's a good question, because I think a lot of times when women think about their appearances or women think about success, appearance never come into play. It's like we were told, go to school, get good grades, and keep advancing. Put your head down and keep advancing in your career. Don't try to stand out too much. Try to fit in. But what has happened over the years is that because we've been trying to conform to that patriarchal style of dressing and fitting in, women are not given the opportunities that we deserved, right? We're not able to really make our voices heard and really get those positions that we're looking for. So personal styling and image coaching, for me, it's helping women step out of that, right? Creating an image for yourself, one that you can show your uniqueness and your personality, and at the same time, get the attention of those persons in positions, being able to craft a place within whether or not it's your company, if you work for someone, or your business, or, just society on a whole. So it's important because women as well are judged so much more on what we wear.
Yes, for sure. And I have a funny story related to this. And hi, for those of you saying hi in the comments, watching us live. Hi, if you're just joining us now, be sure to say hi in the comments and let us know what questions you have. So a funny story I have to share is that when I was, in college and in my 20s, I've always heard to dress more professionally than the position that you're currently in. Of course, in my 20s, being young, so I would always dress up. Like I remember I would go to the juniors department of Macy's and Dillard's, and this was like early 2000s. And so you could buy suits. So to have like a jacket with a matching skirt, and it was super cute. So I bought them in all the colors that they had. And then when we first moved to the Orlando area, we went to the local Democratic Party meetings because we wanted to get involved. The 2004 election was coming. And so, of course, I dressed up in my little suits, like my little power suits, because, wanted to make a good impression. We go to the meeting, everyone's very casual because, this is Florida. People wear shorts and sandals and flip-flops and things. So they told me later, of course, I ended up becoming chairperson. I think partly because I dressed the role, like I dressed the part, but they told me later that they thought that we were Republican spies coming to spy on them because we were dressed like business people.
Wow.
And that's what like the image the Republican Party had back then versus the Democratic Party. So, but that's how much your clothes really do make an impression.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, that's just amazing to think like that, right? And I think generally we're speaking in context of women, that we think that we have to fit into exactly what's happening in that space. But at the same time, we're saying, okay, I want to be able to be the chairperson for this organization. I want to be on the board. I want to have my business do this or do that. But we're not dressing and showing up as the role that we want to play, because people are going to perceive you based on what you wear. Let's say, for instance, when you see someone dressed in a police uniform, you automatically assume that person is a police officer, they're a person in authority and position. because they're wearing the outfit that sends that message and communicates that to you. Now, when you approach the person, they may be like, oh no, I'm not a police officer. I'm going to X, Y, and Z, so I'm dressed this way. So the perception of what you wear is tied into how people see you and what they think of you. And I think that's a perfect example as to dress the part, right? Dress for the role that you want, and you'll be surprised that you get those positions. I know I was working, the first corporate job that I had was in banking, and I wanted to leave it. I was customer service. I wanted to leave it after 10 years. I was like, okay, I pinpointed a company that I wanted to work for. It was Italian, it was Swiss, and they had a different type of dress code. And I was like, okay, I was already dressing that way, but I was okay, I need to step it up a little to get the attention of the CEO. And it worked. It worked because when he looked at me based on the dress code of everyone else around me, it was like, oh, and I always got that comment, you are so elegant. How come you dress this way? It's like, no, I'm dressing for the positions and places that I want to go. And that's what we have to keep in mind as women. Don't think of it as you're showing off or, it's frivolous, but think of it in terms of your goals and what you want to achieve.
Mm-hmm. And really, and dressing that in a way that makes you feel comfortable and confident. Yes. And so not like you're trying to be someone else. And I believe that there is a way that you can, dress for the part that you want and still feel confident and comfortable at the same time. So like, I loved wearing those power suits. It made me feel really confident. And so I enjoyed wearing them. And now I'm a little bit more casual, not casual, but like the types of dresses and suits that I wear is different than what I wore 15 years ago. I'm also 15 years older, right? And so your body changes a little bit as you get older. So what you're going to wear
but
is
it's not even just about your body changing. It's about your goals and you growing, because as you evolve, your style will as well. If you're wearing something, if you're in the audience and you're saying to yourself, wait a minute, I still have things in my closet from 4 or 5 years ago, or from a profession that I'm no longer in, right? Like you're running your own business. You're an entrepreneur now. So there's a different message and brand that you want to communicate. So you're dressing that part, right? If you're still wearing clothes from yesteryear and you're trying to get to 10 steps ahead, then you're holding yourself back, so to speak.
Solita, have you been looking in my closet from all the clothes that I have from 5 or 10 years ago?
No, Carol. If you're not wearing them, and this is the thing that sometimes, because we're not taught as women to align what we wear with our goals. There are different conversations I know for like our male counterparts. They're told at a very early age, based on the career trajectory that they're going on, okay, you need to get a suit, you need to make sure you get this type of watch, you need to make sure you do X, Y, and Z. But for us as women, we're not told these kind of things, right? So it's like society decided since we're women, we should know these things. We should know how to dress. We should know, when ideally most women don't. So having those things in your closet simply means that you haven't done that. Okay, who am I? How do I want to show up? And does any of the things in this closet represent who I am today? And if it does not represent who you are, then Carol, it's
time to go.
It's time to go. You holding on to it is not helping you. I'm going to be frank, it's not helping you.
Oh no, I purge my closet at least once or twice a year. Yes, and donate to Goodwill. So no, I'm very minimalist about that. So Solita, let's talk about finding your signature style and helping those of us who are everyone who's listening and watching figure out where to start. So they may have some go-to pieces, some outfits that they really love. And if you're listening right now, whether you're listening live or in the replay, let us know in the comments, do you have like a favorite outfit that you wear for speaking engagements where like you really want to rock this particular speaking engagement? Like what type of clothing do you wear? Do you have a certain color that you like to wear? Let us know in the comments. And so Solita, how do we start figuring out if, maybe we do have a couple outfits that we really like to wear? Where do we go from there?
Well, first of all, having a couple of outfits is great. But what you need to do when we're talking about finding your personal style for you, it's how do you want to go back to what I was saying before? How do you want to show up? You may have a couple of outfits, but it doesn't necessarily represent who you are, right? And how you want to portray your brand. I'm going to give you an example. For me, being in the finance industry and working there for 15 years, they were great. If I say so myself, I had great outfits. but it's not a representation as to who I am today. It does not speak to my brand today. So it's me now having to look at, what are my goals? How do I want to show up? What are some of the things that I want people to say about me when they come in contact with me? What are 3 words that I want to attach to my brand and myself? Do I want people to say, okay, you're polished, you're professional, you seem to have a little bit of fun, and that means it's coming out in my outfits. So polished and professionals, I like prints, solid, solid colors, but I want to be funky. I want to be, like have a little bit of fun. So this is my fun piece, right? So even though you may have those pieces in your closet that you think are your go-to pieces, because again, you had them in your closet for a while, you've been wearing them, but you haven't really assessed they're a true representation of who you are and how you want to show up in your brand. So start by asking yourself that question. What is your style story? How do you view clothing? How do you want to show up? What do you want to wear to convey that message that you have? And then you might be surprised that the things that you think in your closet are your go-to pieces, and you realize, no, I'm not that person anymore.
Okay, so for those of you, again, watching and listening, let us know in the comments, what are those 3 qualities or 3 characteristics, adjectives that you would say that you want people to associate with you? So don't think about your clothing necessarily, just think about those qualities. So I'll answer Solita for myself, and then maybe we can use this as an example. So the words that come to mind for me is that I would like to be seen as elegant, yet approachable at the same time. And I mean, like professional polish, I think kind of goes with elegant for me. So I would say elegant, approachable, and like, what are the other, like maybe a little bit, I'm disruptive, but I'm definitely not funky, right? So, but speaking your brand and what I stand for tends to be disruptive, but I don't know how necessarily that goes into what I wear.
Yeah, so that's usually the issue there, because when we identify those 3 words, it's like, okay, how do I convey that in my brand? And let's look at disruptive. In your space, how do you disrupt your space in terms of the conversations that you're having, and you're showing women being bold and confident and approaching and talking about topics that generally we're told, oh no, that's not a woman's place, or you shouldn't share that story or that story, or whatever that conversation is. For you to show up as a disruptor in your space in terms of what you wear, it comes down to, okay, what do I like the most? What item can I use to do that? It can be in an accessory. You maybe decide, okay, I want to be a rebel, but I don't want to be the girl who shows up with the biker jacket. But I want to wear like a bracelet that says power and confidence. So you have that piece. Anyone looking at you and they see that bracelet that says power, confident, disruptor, it's like, oh, what is that about? Right? And that therein lies the conversation that they're going to have with you. So it doesn't mean that you have to go and show up, as I said, in a biker jacket, but it can be an accessory with statements, being like, it's the words on it saying something, and it speaks to what your brand is about, and people will be able to engage with you and have that conversation going.
I like that. That's a really great example, Solita. That is now on my shopping list.
Exactly, because it starts the conversation. Like even if we're talking about RBG, is there a particular quote that you like? Is there a particular quote that you like from maybe another woman of power that you can have on making, like a bracelet or something that you wear all the time, and it becomes part of your brand. So when people, as I said, connect with you, it's like, what is that about, Carol? No, I'm a disruptor in my space, and this is what it's, this is the piece that I use to portray that way.
Okay, that's great. So we have a question, Solita. They want to know, what are your thoughts on accessories like jewelries? And she says, I'm not big on large necklaces and earrings because I just don't like them. Is the minimalist look acceptable if it's my style?
Absolutely. Personal style is all about you. You not liking, I'm going to hold a necklace up. You're not liking a necklace like this. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that, because what that means, if you wear something like this, you're going to be totally uncomfortable. So here you are, virtually or on stage, doing a presentation, and you're wearing this chunky necklace that does not speak to your personal brand. Yes, it may gather converse. People may talk about it and have conversation, but you are not comfortable. So you're distracting yourself from your message and really presenting yourself. Minimalist is not, I think sometimes the misconception that is boring. It's like, no, you can be quite elegant with the pieces that you choose. If you're going for those delicate necklaces, you can do a nice layering, maybe two, if you're comfortable wearing two of them. If you're comfortable with wearing, okay, I'm more into three, or okay, I don't like necklaces, can I wear, I have to make sure I'm holding up the right finger so it doesn't, I have to check there to see which. So you can wear like minimalist, it's like, you know, rings like this, maybe this works for you. But remember that personal style, it's about your preferences, what you feel comfortable in, and at the same time, being able to convey how you want people to perceive you. So totally go for it. If that's what you like, go for it.
Yeah, and I'm with that about like minimalist. You know, I'll wear smaller earrings. Sometimes I wear ones a little larger, but also I'm mindful whether I'm podcasting, right? I can't have things that make noise, or if I'm speaking and there's a mic, right? I can't have big necklaces. So those are other things for us that we have to keep in mind as speakers when we have mics attached to us. So Solita, we were chatting earlier before this LinkedIn Live here about you know, finding your personal style. And one thing that you said to me, which really stuck out, was wear a piece that has a backstory to it. So you can tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, one of the things that I've in my efforts to network better, because I'm not that person that's going to go into a room and be like, yes, here I am, let's talk. I'm so much of an introvert. I'm not shy, but I'm introverted in that, okay, I'll stand on the side and wait on someone to approach me. And that's the reason why I got into styling, because it helps me to have people come to me instead of me doing that. And in doing my research, there's a particular connector, that's what she calls herself, that said, always wear something that people draw into and tell a story. And as storytellers, I think that's a great way of getting your audience to connect with you. Wearing a family heirloom, something that has some history and story behind it, because it's a conversational piece, that means that when I see you wearing that brooch, not a lot of people wear brooches, and you're wearing it, let it be a story. What's the story behind that? I was in this particular country, X, Y, and Z, and this is what happens. Or my grandmother gave this to me 20 generations ago, whatever it is. But wearing those pieces that really start conversations is helpful, especially in your field as a speaker.
Yes, that's a great idea. It makes me start thinking. I do have some family pieces, and so we have to dig through. And also, like you said, when you travel to other countries, that's also a good reason to shop. We have an excuse to shop while we're traveling.
To really get some real great pieces, because that's what you want to start conversations with your clothes. Your clothes is the thing that, think about it this way. I always say that your clothes is the thing that walks into the room first. If you enter a room for the first time where no one is familiar with you, I have no idea who Carol Cox is. Automatically, as human beings, we may not like it, but it happens. We start analyzing that person based on what they're wearing. Right? It's like, oh my gosh, she's wearing this. I love the way she paired that. Oh, I love that. Or it can be on the reverse. What is she wearing? Like, oh my gosh, that kind of way. So you want to be able to, when you step into that room, whatever you're wearing, it's speaking for you before you get the opportunity to then explain who you are, what you do, or why you're wearing something. So always keep that in mind as well.
Yes, and I know, and speaking of, being a speaker and speaking engagements, it's also dressing what's appropriate for the audience that you're speaking to and the venue, like the location that you're in. I remember years ago, I spoke at an event, and it was a very kind of very professional group that was also a little bit old school. So like most of the women would wear dresses or skirts. Very few of them wore pants. Just because they also tended to be an older generation. And so I spoke there, and I happened to wear like black pants and a really nice top. And it was a blue top because I knew the blue looks good on me. It's a color that I like. And I wanted it for the video and the photos. But I realized as I was speaking there, that really was almost one of the only people wearing pants, one of the only women wearing pants. And I felt a little bit out of place because of that. And looking back, I probably should have worn something different than what I wore in order to kind of fit in better. I don't know. What are your thoughts about that, Solita?
Okay, so I'm having two I'm having conflicting thoughts. Here's my first one. Your brand and your message is that we're bold, we're being ourselves, we're disruptors.
So I'm just going in there, I'm gonna wear my pants.
There you go, right? And on the other side of it, we always have to be mindful of the audience that we are presenting to. That does not mean that you have to completely change who you are to fit into that brand, fit into that audience, because what the audience is coming for, to see who you are, to hear about your expertise, to hear why it's necessary for them to be bold and confident and just not to go against the grain. So you showing up in your pants, to me, it's not only on brand, but it's what made you comfortable. What I would say is off brand, and where you don't pay attention to your audience, it's if you are wearing something, let's say, for instance, you're doing a speaking engagement at a hospital for a fundraiser. Fundraisers, we're thinking we need investors, we need persons to buy into the idea. And here's it, you're talking, but you're wearing this bold red or orange or something like that. It's kind of off-putting. The color that I would suggest to wear is blue. Going back to that, because blue is about trust, it's a little bit more calming, it's a little bit more, and you're trying to build that. It's a power color for that specific audience, right? And even if we talk about making a presentation to the children's ward where they're cancer patients, again, you have to be mindful of your color. What is the message? These are kids who needs joy. They need to be uplifted. So you walking in there with a green doesn't necessarily bring that. What color brings the sunshine? Yellow.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't mean that you have to wear a full-on yellow suit, but having some element of yellow in your outfit says that you're connecting with your audience. You're sharing that warmth and joy that they want to feel, while at the same time they're listening to your message. So be yourself, but also try and find like colors and prints and patterns that really speak to your audience and show that you understand what they're going through, or you're in support of what they're doing.
Okay, this is a great segue, Solita, into talking about colors. I know we had a question from Mary Beth ahead of time about colors. Like, are there certain seasons or colors that we should wear? And so I'm going to show you all some of my go-to outfits. And Solita knows that I basically only shop at White House Black Market because I wear petite sizes, and their petite sizes fit me really well. So I can just go online, see something I like, order it, and I know it's going to fit for the most part. So. And Solita's gonna laugh, because I showed her these before we started. So this is, I love, you guys have seen me in this dress for some of my videos. So it's reversible, which is nice. So you can flip it and do either color, but I love blue. I really got into blue when I was chairperson of the Democratic Party and going on TV, because of course blue was for the Democratic Party. So wanted to represent the brand there. So this is a nice go-to dress there. Let me, and then I do like to have bold colors, like bright colors. So this is pink, another reversible, right? You could wear the other side. So I've worn this on TV, and it's not red, right? It's pink, and that looked really good. Also, TV, you really need, sorry for the fire engines, you really need to wear bright colors, like jewel tone colors on TV, and not prints. Like, I would never wear this dress that I'm wearing now on TV, and I would never wear the other side of this on TV because it's too busy for TV. Same with video. Like, I wore this on purpose today to show the contrast between wearing a pattern versus what Solita's wearing as a print. It is better to wear solid colors on video than to wear this print here.
Exactly.
All right. So if I'm really feeling like really businessy, like I'll wear a dress like this. This is also White House Black Market. I feel like I'm should be getting a sponsorship from White House Black Market. This has a jacket that goes with it, but this is also just a nice silhouette. And then, of course, I know I can accessorize that. And then I also have gold and silver. Like, I will wear both gold and silver jewelry depending on what I'm wearing. I like both colors, and we can talk about that. This is super casual gold. I have these really cute gold sandals that I wear with it. And then when I'm going out to dinner, I'll do a complete bohemian look, with jeans like this. All right, Solita, so what does this say about me?
Okay, first of all, this is so funny, guys, because Carol and I have had this conversation already, and I'm like, first of all, White House Black Market is a fantastic brand to shop. That's where I shop as well, because I'm petite, right? And most of the things that I've gotten from them, I don't have to adjust it. But this is what I noticed, and this is, you audience may have noticed this as well. Carol shops based on what the suggestion is for that season.
Yes.
So get a blue dress, reversible, that's on the side. She go gets that. This is the issue with that, Joe. How do you know what your personal style is? Like, and then how creative can you get? As I said, personal style is about expressing yourself. The brands are there and the outfits that they have is for guidance. Like, okay, you can get this, but can you mix and match your pieces in your closet no, exactly. And that is a huge problem, because what happens every season, if you decided that that's your shopping strategy, that every season you'll get new pieces, every season you end up buying new pieces and adding to your closet, and nothing can mix and match together. So your first strategy is to, one, identify. We've already identified your 3 words, or maybe you need to think about it a little bit more, because I know you were like, oh, can I sort? It's like identifying those 3 words. You've identified a brand that you want to shop. How do I want to shop? What are some of these pieces that I want to get? And can they mix and match? So it's not about getting a dress for this occasion and I can reverse it. And a dress for this occasion or a shirt for this. It's about all your pieces. And I'm going to tell you this as a Caribbean woman. I grew up in 24/7, 365 summer weather. Every piece in my closet needs to go together. So even though I'm living in Atlanta now and there's different seasons, I still have that mindset and I still work with that concept. The only thing that I need to do every season is ensure that I have the strategic pieces. Winter pieces, I can't go out in all my summer clothing alone. I need a jacket, but I would still wear this during the winter. Of course, if it's not like super freezing, but I wear a jacket over it, right? So what you want to do, first of all, your strategy, Carol. We need to get away from just going in and seeing what is on the catalog and just buying it. And you're not alone. I can tell you that you're not alone. There are a lot of women that do that, and they tell you, I don't like shopping, and I'm a confused person when it comes to what my personal style is, because you're just pulling pieces. When you define your style, not only for yourself, but for your business and your audience, you end up with pieces that you can wear differently. For instance, that gold shirt that you use, like, oh, I remember you saying, I don't wear this to speak. Why not? Because you're thinking it's sleeveless. I bought it specifically to go to casual events, so I can't wear it to speak. Why not? You can. If your brand is that, okay, I'm going to speak to a conference of women, professional women. They're going to be dressed this way. This is the brand, this is the message. But I want to have a little bit of energy, a little bit of fun with my style. You can put a blazer over that. You can totally put a blazer over it. So don't think of your pieces as individual occasions, but collectively, how can I wear them throughout? Now we're talking about, I know we're talking about colors. There's this blouse. I think I spoke to you offline about it that I bought. I'm trying to see how I can get it. Like, I bought this color is ugly. I don't know if, like, I'm going to be honest. It's ugly. It's not pink. It's not gray. It's like, what is this color? But what I love about this shirt, because it has the elements of style that I love. So I have a bit of a feminine touch to my style. So I like sleeves like this that are cut like this. I'm trying to get it there. Because I'm petite as well, I always like to define my waist whenever I can. So having this waistband as well, give me that. Having this feminine detail, give me that. But again, as I said, this shirt is ugly, but I love it. How do I dress this up now so it matches my personality? The color, I should say, was ugly because it doesn't really go with my skin tone. It's there. How do I dress it up? So what I've done is a few things. Because this is such a dead color, if I add a necklace to it, I'm trying to get it in the camera. Yeah. If I add a necklace to it, it completely changes the tone of the look. Now I can go for this neutral tone with the bold statement. Maybe that's not your thing and you do a stackable necklace. Or I can go for, because it kind of sort of looks like it's a blue color, like a pink color. So if I add a bolder pink to it, then you're not focusing so much on the color of this shirt. You're seeing this is popping. I still have the love and feel of the sleeve and the outfit, and I feel great in it. When it comes to your bottom piece now, If you want to jazz it up a bit, it's like, okay, I'm not into necklaces, I'm not into these things, but I still love it. I can wear some gold jewelry with it. If I add a print to it, like that, two things are happening. One, the color from this shirt is actually, it looks like it's reflecting in this skirt. So it looks like a uniform piece. And I'm now changing the look and tone of this shirt to dress it up. How do I know to do this? That's because I've defined my style and how I want to show up and what are some of the things that I love. I know Mary Beth asked a question on color. How do you know your color? And I'm going to be honest with you. As someone who is discovering their personal style and trying to figure out what works for you, because it's an experiment, it's trying new things and different things and seeing what works and seeing what you love while you're defining your style. When you limit yourself to saying, okay, finding your color, and you're told, I think this was the book that she was referencing, right? And in this book, it will speak about what your different, different types of, like, you're warm or you're cool. It then tells you 4 or 5 colors. If you now tap into just those 4 or 5 colors, then you're going to be, at some point, you're going to be like, okay, I'm done wearing these 4 or 5 colors. What else can I do? And this is a perfect example, as I showed you with this may be a horrible color, but I can dress it up because it's not only the outfit part of my personal style and how I want to portray it, but I know how to change it up. You're experimenting, you're trying different things. So while it's great in theory to find your color, experiment with it. I have a very unorthodox way that I do it, and that is through your underwear. So instead of going into your favorite boutique and just buying all neutral colors, pull some colors that you love. Like, you can do that. You don't have to do it with your bra. You can do it with the can I say underwear? Yeah. You can do it with that, right? But in short, when I say get color ones, I don't mean when you get the color ones, please wear the appropriate outfit with it. We don't need to see your pink or your orange showing. But what it does, right? And if you don't, I'm going to say this, a lot of women don't get dressed in front of their mirror. You're a woman that comes out of your shower, grab your clothes, but don't ever get dressed in front of your mirror. One of the things that you're going to be struggling with. As soon as you get dressed, you'll be like, oh, I hate the way this looks. If you get dressed in front of your mirror, you know what are some of the areas that you love. You start to love your body a little bit more. You start to feel comfortable in your own skin. So when you go to your boutique and you grab those underwear, put them on, get dressed in front of your mirror. If you don't have a full length mirror, get one. Get dressed in front of your mirror. Because then you'll see which color sits on you and which one just pops and how you feel in it. Because if you put on your underwear, think about it. It's that sexy element. And if you put on a pink underwear and you'll be like, ooh, I love the way this pink pops on me. Then you start looking for clothing that you can wear on the outside to get that feeling that you would have gotten from your undergarment, because there's nothing more that builds confidence than having the right underwear and wearing underwear that you absolutely love and you feel like fantastic in. That's my unusual way of finding your style. And at the same time, you have fun with it. So yeah.
I think it's a great idea. Obviously, an expensive way too, to try different colors. Yeah, that's perfect. Exactly. All right. So Solita, let's talk a little bit about gold versus silver jewelry. I know I just mentioned, like, I have gold on right now. I actually wore silver only jewelry for like maybe a decade straight. And then a few years ago, I kind of came back to the gold, and I really am liking it a lot. Why do we think that we should either wear gold or silver jewelry based on our complexion or something else? And I want you to share the story that you told me earlier about why you only wore one color jewelry.
Yes. So I'm originally from the Republic of Guyana. That's the only English-speaking country in South America. Having lived in Antigua, as migrated there was this notion that Guyanese people, I'm going to put it that way, wore gold because we have gold mines in Guyana. And then, of course, you have it, people use it. It's a resource that we have, you use it. So you'll see a lot of Guyanese wearing gold. As much as I loved being Guyanese, and as much as I didn't mind, say, if you ask me where I was from, I was like, yes, I'm from Guyana. I was brave and bold about it. I never liked the idea that people identify or have that, oh, no wonder you're wearing gold. that kind of concept. So I stayed away from gold like all my life. I will tell you, if you know my age, I only started wearing gold maybe 2 or 3 years ago. Like that concept of me wearing gold stuck with me because I didn't want like what is that? You are telling me that only Guyanese people wear gold? Like no. And I felt as though that wasn't a way I wanted to be identified. And so I never wore it until 2 or 3 years ago. Like I started to embrace and I realized I even love it more. And it works with my complexion a whole lot better than silver. So sometimes that's what happens. We have things, we don't wear certain things because of either other people's opinion, or we feel as though our race or sex will come into question based on what we're, and we don't want that to be the thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Solita. And so this is a good question for those of you who are watching and listening is there something that you're not wearing now because of something that happened to you in the past? Either someone told you one time that they didn't like a color on you or a certain thing that you were wearing, or maybe it's something related to your identity and your family and where you grew up that you're holding on to, and maybe you want to change it. Maybe you want to experiment and wear that thing, that color, whatever it happens to be, that is something that you haven't been wearing for a really long time. And I would love to know in the comments if that resonates with any of you.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing that because a lot of us, I mean, I didn't realize that it was impacting the way I dress so much until one day I like literally sat down and I was thinking of something I wanted to wear. And I was like, oh, this will look so much better with a gold necklace. And I was like, oh, but I don't have anything gold. And just going back to that, like, oh, and I'm talking, I went to high school. This is from all my years from high school going into adulthood that I never wore gold because of that, or never owned anything because of that. And it's just crazy, right? It's just crazy that we allow other people's perception or negative input to really affect how we show up. And that's why I do the work that I do, is to remind women that we are unique, we are who we are, and to shed those opinions, to shed those society's box that they want to put us in as to how we should show up, and really embrace what's important to us, really wear the things that we want to wear and to express who we are. Because the world wasn't, especially when it comes to the workforce and it comes to dress code, women weren't thought of as to what that will look like. And I think it's a perfect opportunity right now when we're talking about being individuals and showing up in your individuality, is really embrace who you are and to wear the things that express who you are. People gravitate more to you for that reason. So yeah.
Okay, so Solita, I have a couple more things that I want to chat with you about here. And if you all have comments or questions, please post them now so we can get them in before we wrap up here. But we still have a little bit more time. So I want to ask you, Solita. So the first thing is that you shared with me earlier a statistic that said that when women are feeling depressed, I forget the way the stat was worded, like 57% of them will wear baggy clothes or baggier clothes. And when you shared that with me, I thought back to myself and I'm like, yeah, I don't necessarily, for me, it's more when I'm feeling insecure, I will tend to wear baggier, more loose fitting clothes because I feel like, how I interpret that for myself is that because I want to be invisible. Like I'm feeling insecure. I don't really want people to notice me. So I'm going to wear baggier clothing. And so I would love for, those of you, let us know in the comments if you've ever felt that way as well, or if you feel like, depending on how you're feeling, if you wear certain types of clothing or not. And Solita, I know that you're a big proponent that clothing is a form of self-care. Yes. And it can elevate our moods as well as reflect the moods that we want people to perceive about us.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I enjoy most about teaching about image coaching, personal styling, is that it is a form of self-care, right? Mm-hmm. It is an expression of how we want to feel. And when I did that research, and it's like 57%, and I did my own analysis and just kind of like checked myself. When I'm not feeling at my best, what do I do? And why do I wear those particular pieces? I think I was sharing with you some photos of my life over the last 3 years, and showing that when I was feeling most confident about myself, when I had a community, when I had a job that I loved, and I felt like I was whole, this is the way I dress. And when I lost all of that, I kind of like just put clothes on, and there was no thought process into how I wanted to feel and the message or anything like that. And it was just kind of like wearing clothes. So for me, taking that moment to say, okay, how do I want to feel? How do I want to feel? And am I going to dress to enhance my mood, or am I going to dress to illustrate my mood? And one of the things as human beings, what we do is we always look for the negatives. We always look for the evidence to support how we're feeling or what we're doing negatively, and never for the looking at things positively. So when I think about style as self-care, it's like, you have to love yourself. If you take that moment to say, I love myself, I'm going to say this, life may be crappy at the moment. However, I don't want how I feel to reflect that. Mm-hmm. Because when you're reflecting how you're feeling in that negative way, it affects every single aspect of your life. It affects you getting up and going to work. It affects you communicating with your colleagues or communicating with your audience. It affects every single aspect. So taking that moment to really determine what is your mood. I do like a mood test in the morning. You know, some people do, you get up in the morning, you lie in your bed and you're like, okay, what do I have on my to-do list today? I do two things. What am I grateful for? And what is my mood today? And how do I want to dress? So I kind of like tap into, okay, today I'm not feeling 100%, so I'm going to do a little bit extra. I'm going to add something differently that I would not have done before. Whereas I'm a shorts person, I like to wear shorts around the house. That's my casual, that's my comfortable look. If that's how I'm feeling and that's going to help me elevate my mood, that's what I wear, because it kind of reminds me of being on the beach, being in the Caribbean. It's like, yes, I'm back in that space where I felt most comfortable in. So you have to think about how can you express and show love to yourself through the things that you wear, because everything that you wear starts with you, how you feel. Nothing happens the way you want it to if you don't feel right about yourself.
Solita, I think that's a great place for us to wrap up today. Thank you so much for all of these fantastic suggestions and strategies that you shared with us today. And I know you do your own LinkedIn live show. So can you tell us about that? And for those of you who are watching, make sure to connect with Solita on LinkedIn. So tell us about your LinkedIn live show, and then also tell us about how people can work with you.
Sure. So LinkedIn live show, which is kind of like interesting. My LinkedIn live show is called Women Making an Impact. And it's for me, I selfishly kind of did it for me in a way, because it's a show to help me step out of my comfort zone. I wanted to do a little bit more speaking. I wanted to do a little bit more engaging and networking. And I found I needed to create my own community, so to speak. So the LinkedIn Live that I have, it's on Mondays at 12 Eastern. It's where I bring on or feature a woman that's making strides within her industry. And not just making strides within her industry, but how can what tips can she share with other women in based on the specific expertise that she's in. So let's say, for instance, last week we're talking about confidence and women really showing up as their authentic self, because there's this connection that I have on LinkedIn. Like Veronica you would not have thought a couple of years ago this was what happens on LinkedIn, that people can come as themselves, dancing and laughing and singing and being that type of person. And that's who she is. And so it's featuring women like that who are disruptors, right? They're doing things differently and at the same time inspiring and empowering women. So it's been fantastic. I enjoy it most because it helps me with stepping out of my comfort zone and really getting out there. In terms of working with me, to work with me, first of all, we have to do a style consultation just to determine what your goals are and what is the style solution best for you. Because I do have packages, but every service is tailored specifically to your needs. So your needs may be different from someone else's. So I have to pinpoint what your needs are. And of course, you can email me at solita@styletoimpact.com. Or it should be on my bio where you can book a consultation there. But yeah, that's how you work with me. We start first with that consultation.
Fantastic, Solita. Well, thank you again for coming on the Backstage with Speaking Your Brand show. And I want to let you all know, so we are doing this Backstage live show every other Monday. The 2 weeks from today, Monday, is July 5th, which is our Independence Day holiday here in the United States. So we will be skipping that LinkedIn Live show because I will not be working that day. And I certainly will not be getting dressed for our LinkedIn Live show on that day. So we will be back a month from now, so 4 weeks. And my guest will be Elaine Fluker, who just recently published her book called Get Over It. And with HarperCollins leadership, so a traditional publisher, she's going to talk to us backstage about how her book launch went. So whether you have a book that you're going to be coming out with to do a book launch or you're launching something else, I can't wait to get insights from her on what worked and what she would recommend and what she would do differently next time. So be sure to keep a lookout for that. Solita, thank you again for coming on the show. It was so nice to talk with you.
Likewise. Thank you very much, Carol, for having me. I appreciate it.